Not too long ago, Toby the tram engine discovered an old mine on a secluded part of the island. It was on this visit he found Bertram, an old narrow-gauge engine many believed that had actually been a ghost that haunted the valley. Notorious for his unwavering bravery, he was regarded affectionately by the workmen as the Old Warrior. Nowadays, Bertram works happily under the jurisdiction of the Thin Controller, and continues the humble mine work he had done during the old days. One day, Toby was on his way to the junction when he saw Percy taking on water by a station.
Hello,
Said Toby.
you look exhausted, Percy. What's the matter?
The mine junction.
Grumbled Percy.
It's pandemonium over there. That rowdy heap of scrap.
Before Percy could finish his sentence, his driver pulled the lever and he puffed out of sight. Toby didn't mind. He decided to find out more about the matter himself. When he arrived, the mine junction was busier than ever. The narrow-gauge engines were bringing coal, slate, and stone from the valleys, and the Fat Controller's engines collected their loads and brought them to the harbor or factories far away. What really caught Toby's attention was an extraordinary ruckus. All the engines seethed with fury as the uproar continued from none other than the Old Warrior.
Here we go, forward! One wheel forward! This is what we live for! Glory! The sound of freight cars is music to my wheels. Everyone heave! That's the way! Never surrender! Charge!
The engines were horrified at Bertram's voracious work ethic.
That wee one must got a heart of a warrior in his firebox, but his manners are a little excessive.
Said Donald.
He's insane.
Duck confided to Toby.
He's like this every day. You have to admire his enthusiasm, but I agree with Donald. He can be rather expressive.
Toby was shocked. He hoped that by working that day he could find out more about the elusive Old Warrior he had discovered. Later, Toby saw Bertram pulling some freight cars into the junction. He was still shouting profusely.
Never give up, never surrender! Forward! Every day is worth another wheel's turn. Never give up, never surrender! Success is mine, I knew I could do it! Never give up, never surrender, never! That's the way!
Duke arrived just in time to witness Bertram continue to be a momentous disturbance of the peace.
Impudent scalawag, you're an utter embarrassment, groaned Duke. Settle down and stop making such a fool of yourself.
Bertram took no notice and continued his revelry of rowdiness. The other engines were still very cross, but Toby was in awe of his work ethic. Despite everything, Bertram was an extremely hard worker.
Never give up, never surrender, never! That's the way!
Oh, shut up.
Do not fash yourself and shut up before you lose all your puff!
Certainly not the Great Western Way. Someone certainly has a few loose bolts.
Toby couldn't help but feel sorry for Bertram. The other engines had ostracized him for the entire day.
I hope the others will see what a useful engine he is, despite everything. He has a passion for work. That's something he should be respected for.
The next afternoon, the engines were pushing freight cars by the transfer siding. Bertram wasn't there. He was taking some empty freight cars to the mine. Toby was admiring the High Tower, an old landmark where the new mine was built. The structure had been on Sodor for years, and stood proudly overlooking the line where the engines worked. As Toby waited patiently at the water tower, his driver and fireman left to fetch a newspaper and some coffee at the mine office. As he hummed quietly, Donald was shunting a long line of cars into a siding. However, the freight cars were being careless. and the momentum forced the cavalcade through the buffers and into the supports of High Tower.
What's my buffers?
The supports were about to give way, and Toby was beneath the incoming catastrophe. Without his driver and fireman, he could not escape, and Donald couldn't pull him away. He had derailed after his accident. The tower swayed ominously. Toby was very frightened. One false move and he could be crushed. Then, out of the blue, came the old warrior thundering into the yard. He wasted no time, and his driver sprinted to Toby, fastening a long chain to his front. Bertram then prepared for the rescue operation. With all of his might, Bertram took a mighty heave and pulled Toby out of the tower's way just before it made its mighty crash.
You saved my life, Bertram.
Smiled Toby gratefully.
You truly are an old warrior.
It was nothing, old friend.
Laughed Bertram.
You save me, I save you. Works wonders that way, doesn't it? Anything for an old friend. Now back to the mines. These cars don't haul themselves, you know.
He puffed away his usual courageous self. The engines had a newfound admiration for Bertram. He was a hero, and the bravest little engine anyone had ever seen. His work ethic is still rather rambunctious, but one thing has changed. No one ever spoke rudely to Bertram, the old warrior, ever again.